Welcome to Better, the podcast about doing better, being better, and leaving the world a better place than we found it. This is me dancing. It's a white boy dancing on a podcast. How's it going, everybody? Jay here from Better. Do better, be better, and make the world a better place. That's our motto. And so normally what I talk about on my solo episodes is times when I've done better. And it's in there for this subject. But the most important part of this is that people are doing worse in this regard. As a general statement, I won't say that everybody's doing worse, but for a little background, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but I run a event management platform, which also does event ticketing. Now, we're one of the very few sites, and there are some out there, but we're one of the very few that are fair with our fees and our structure and everything, the way we do things. However, we have millions of people on our platform, which means that we have a great case study for hundreds of thousands of people and customer service. Okay. So I've been in marketing and customer service forever, starting out in nightclubs and events, catering to people face to face. We're going back in the day when I used to go and drive around the city, or actually, let's go further back when I used to take the bus around the city and sell people tickets face to face at their home and then deal with them face to face at the venue. Then we get into like MSN Messenger days, MySpace, Facebook, Nexopia, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok, email, text, short codes. I mean, we're talking every phone. We're talking every kind of customer service imaginable, okay? And we've dealt with hundreds of thousands of people. And what I'm finding, especially since COVID, but what I'm finding even post-COVID. So I think there was kind of this point where COVID happened and we were able to kind of forgive people for acting less than better. We'll call it. And there was a grace period there, right? Because everybody was kind of stuck in their home, very antisocial style of living. A lot of people just kind of went a little cuckoo. Like they were at home and they didn't have any exposure to people, and their main point of contact with human beings was either Zoom or movies and TV. And a lot of people stewed in it. A lot of people had legitimate mental health issues that came out of it. And like I said, there was this grace period where it was like, you're not acting the way a person should in a civilized society. And then I think we all kind of expected it to kind of dissipate. I'll use an event that I used to run as an example. So we had an event that we did in late 2021, and the way that some people acted, it was, it actually made me a little sick some days. But I kind of went, you know what? It's COVID. It's just made people a little on edge, a little less, gave people a little less empathy. So I kept that in the back of my head. But then it got into 2022 and 2023, and it's gotten so much worse, at least from what we're seeing and from what other entrepreneurs I know and CEOs I know that run platforms or customer service oriented industry, they're all seeing it too. And the problem that I'm going to talk about is how people treat customer service reps. So I'm going to show you I'm going to read you some specific examples. Now, I was thinking, I'm like, should I put these people on blast? But I can't, right? It's my business. And sometimes I can just, sometimes when people message in, I'll like type something out, or like, and I remember my staff will type it out and they'll screenshot it and send it in an internal chat and say, this is what I want to say. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to keep my composure. I'm going to keep respectful. I'm going to keep professional. But it can be very, very hard at times, especially when you get hit over and over and over again. And I think the problem is really two-pronged. So the first being that um, when things go wrong, a lot of people these days are not taking the time to figure out why before their explosive personality takes over. And that can be uh, very problematic. And that can make it so that it's very hard to even help those people, even though we want to. And then the second thing that I'm noticing is there's just this lack of empathy and understanding that even though you're texting or you're emailing or you're doing all these things, even though you're doing all that, there's another person on the other side. Now, sure, there are bots and AI and all those sorts of things, but you can tell when you're having a conversation with an actual person. At least as of taping this, you can. AI is just insane lately. So maybe by the time this comes out, you won't be able to tell. You never know. But ultimately, especially if you're dealing with someone on the phone or if you're dealing with someone over chat and like they're catering their responses to you and they sound human, they're human. So I think that's the two problems. The first is people exploding before they even know what's going on. And in a lot of cases, it's user error or user lack of understanding. And then on the other side, there's this lack of empathy and understanding that there's another person that you're talking to. You're actually having a conversation with a human being. And I think that digital lack of connection has caused people to have this lack of empathy. So what I'm going to do is, well, first let me say this: when you're dealing with tech, any kind of tech, doesn't matter if it's a tractor, if it's a website, if it's an app, if it's any kind of tech, there are going to be some bugs. Okay, so I'll break this up into two different types of issues. The first issue is user error or user lack of understanding. Okay, and user error comes from somebody doing something and not even realizing they made a mistake in most cases. And then user lack of understanding comes from the fact that the internet is still very much the wild wild west. And in being wild wild west, wild west, should emphasize my words better. In that, uh, you buy tickets on Incredivent, my platform. You buy tickets on Ticketmaster. You buy tickets on Eventbrite. You buy tickets on any of these websites. The process is a little different because we're all trying to simplify to make it as good as we can. At least most of us are. And so you're gonna have this lack of understanding because like, oh, I went over there and I did it that way, and now I'm over here and I'm trying to do it that way and it doesn't work. Right. So I get that. And then the second category of people outside of user error and user lack of understanding is actual technical issues, bugs, which is what we call it in the tech world. So we're always squashing bugs, every website, every platform, every app. So I'm going to break it into those two, and I'm going to read you off some oh, you know what, there's a third one. Sorry, there's a third one. This is what happens when you're doing things live. So we've got first class of customer service is based on user error, user lack of understanding. The second one is based on essentially bugs or errors in tech. The third one is event related issues for us. So event related issues can run from anything from employees not showing up to work the event. It could be you were planning on doing this but it didn't turn out, so now you got to do something as an alternative and people aren't happy about it. So there's the three types. Okay, but I'm only going to deal with the first two in terms of reading you off some responses we got from customer service. So let's deal with user error and user lack of understanding. So this first person, okay, they bought a ticket on our platform for a live event. In three different places, it said live. The event happens, it's over. The person emails in and asks, why can't I access the event? We say, the event ended on Friday. They say, why wasn't I told that? So the customer service rep is going back and forth just saying, well, it did say live event. It had a date and a time on it. And, that's the way it works. This is the response after that correspondence. So we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 messages. Okay. So after the sixth message, this is what they say. And pardon my Francais. You are a fucking commie. I hope you die. Your family is probably ashamed of you. What must your mother think of how disgusting your attitude is towards other people? The message before it was, I will check with the event planner to see if there's anything they can do, but there is no refund policy, and the event did state that it was live 3 times. That's the response we got back. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you are like, "Well, that is clearly because everybody's divided by their political left and right. That is clearly someone on the right." And you would be right. However, user lack of understanding, message number 2. So, this person, basically what happened is they bought 5 tickets for an event and their friends couldn't come. There's a no refund policy on the event, on the tickets, on everything. It's plain English, no refunds for this event. So and I'll tell you something, most event planners, if somebody dies or a horrible car accident, something like that, they're gonna say, okay, it's fine. But it's a general blanket policy because a lot of people, when they buy tickets, they buy for friends and everything, and their friends say they're gonna come, then their friends don't kick in the money. So like, screw you, I'm just gonna get my money back. Um, that's what event insurance is for. But anyways, so this person, their friends can come. So they email in and say, hey, I'd like to get a refund. So customer service rep comes in, says, may I ask the reason why? They say, my friends can't show up, they suck. So the customer service rep replies, I'm sorry to hear that. My friends have done that to me a few times too. What exactly are you looking for? A full refund on all your tickets or a refund for your friends' tickets? So they say, I want a full refund for everything because if my friends can't come, I don't want to go. Okay, let me talk to the event planner, even though there is a no refund policy, and see if they have a wait list or anything like that, and we'll see what we can do. But I'm letting you know right now that this event does not usually allow for refunds. Okay, thank you. The next day, now, by the way, I should say the next day being this email came in, or this message came in at 11:24 p.m. The next day at 5:24 a.m. This is what the person messages in to say. I sent a message last night. You guys said you would check with the planner. It has been days, 6 hours. It's been days since I asked you for a refund and you haven't gotten back to me. This is terrible behavior. I am going to go to the Better Business Bureau, report your business, and make sure that you are never going to have another customer again. Okay? So this is how the customer service rep responds. I'm so sorry to hear that you're frustrated with the process. You did email in last night. I have checked with the event planner. This is at 8:22 in the morning. Okay. I've checked with the event planner, and unfortunately, we can't do a refund. However, we will issue the tickets back into quantity. And if they sell, we will give you a refund. How does that sound? How does that sound to you guys? Sounds to me like a completely Skylar, does that sound rational to you? Yeah. Okay. So this is how they replied. You think that you know or understand the plight of people these days. I don't have enough money to cover these tickets. That is terrible. That's it. Big capital letters. That is terrible. So we reply back, I'm sorry to hear that, but I really do believe if we issue the tickets back into inventory, they will sell and you'll be able to get a refund. Again, there is a no refund policy, and this is the event planner going the extra mile for you. Okay. Some of these things I have recited in my head because these things get burnt into my memory. This is how they reply. Are you a Trump guy? You must be a Trump guy because there's no way any liberal would ever treat another liberal like this. Keeping in mind, politics had nothing to do with this. This show was not political. There was nothing to do with politics. They just brought politics into it. So the customer service rep replies, political standing has no, bearing here, da da da. They go through, so they go back and forth a couple times. This is how the conversation ends. Oh, it's so sad. This is how the conversation ends. You do not deserve your job. And in fact, I bet nobody at your company deserves their job. You guys have it so easy. All you do is sit behind a computer all day and steal people's money. You don't understand the problems that we have out here. You didn't even address me, I shit you not, with the proper pronouns. Okay. So, look, I'm all for be who you want to be, have the life you want to have. But here's the thing, when you message in, and first of all, I don't even know when we use pronouns here. I think maybe there was a sir in there or something. So customer service rep now replies and says, I'm sorry, I didn't know that you wanted me to use another pronoun or that you go by another pronoun. I'd be more than happy to address you how you would like me to address you. And then the conversation goes right off the rails. Okay, so the conversation now becomes about this. Oh, you should know better, and all, and it just keeps going and going. Finally, my customer service rep says, we can issue you a refund because your tickets sold in the inventory. Expect them within 5 to 10 business days. They then threaten to come down to my office and take the money out of their cold, dead hands, even after we did everything we could for them. So that's a couple of emails from the right and the left. So if you're one of those people that's like, oh, the right's terrible or less terrible, look, there's bad people and there's good people in every walk of life. If you go back to a previous podcast I talked about stereotypes and the dangers of stereotypes, this is one of those. Some other responses we got back from random people, regardless of political affiliation or anything. So actually I'll have tallies for you. So in the month of October, we were threatened over 200 times. Threatened over user error, over people not understanding how to use a website or not how to understand an app, and we're trying to help them, and they threaten our lives. In the month of October, the number of people that said that we should, listen to this, that we should die, 73. 73 people actually told us we should die over the fact that they didn't understand something on our website. Now, if we go through, now I'm gonna deal with a few that I had, that other business owners I know had submitted in. One of them is pretty bad. So one of them is he knew that there was a female rep on this guy's customer service team. So this guy finds her on social media, finds her address. I don't know how he did that, but he found her address and he starts mailing her threatening letters. And then he starts emailing her through the company more threats. So this is reported to the police. Okay. This guy comes back and doctors a ton of screenshots to make it look like she was flirting with him and led him on. So they say, well, this, we have a firm record of everything, go through it. So they go through it. It's proven that, and like the screenshots are really bad. Some people think they can Photoshop, they can't Photoshop. So they go through this whole process. Okay. And what does the guy say? Maybe she should try looking uglier. Seriously? So women aren't allowed to look good anymore? People aren't allowed to look good anymore? People aren't allowed to take pride in their appearance anymore? Because somebody is going to get, I don't know, obsessed with them and decide to attack them, even though they were trying to help them through customer service. And there's all kinds of examples I can give you guys. In the second one, we're talking about tech bugs. Okay, so somebody tried to check out on a friend of mine's website, and the checkout wasn't working quickly. Okay, because they had a lot of people on their website, so the checkout was a little slow. So people messaging in, I think your website, and I'm sorry to say this, I think your website is as retarded as your staff because it's slow. That's how you start a conversation? Really? Then you've got things like so an email didn't come through, but it turned out the email was in their spam box. So an email doesn't come through. I have been waiting for this email for 15 minutes. It still hasn't come. You guys are fucking assholes. You're trying to steal my money. Fuck you. That's the actual, I'm reading it. That's the actual message sent. That's how you start a conversation? Come on, guys. You know, I think I've probably beat this to death. What do you think? If I beat the point to death a little bit? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Here's the thing, okay? We're all trying to live this life, on this blue and green dot. And we're all, I think, trying to do the best we can, but sometimes we need intervention, help, therapy, talk to somebody, whatever it is. And I think there's been a lot of shame put on, if you can't do it yourself, then you suck. My people are good people. They're very good people. They want nothing but to help people in this job and go home and be able to cash their paychecks and enjoy their lives, go out, have dinner, go to some movies, go to some shows, see their significant others, see their family, just live life like everybody else is trying to live life. How easy do you think it is for them to accept that the world is generally good when this is what they're dealing with? Customer service reps everywhere. I could not imagine could you imagine being a Facebook moderator? My God, the horrors you must witness. So regardless of whether it's my team or another team, what you have to understand is that, and kind of the message I like to send with this podcast is, a betterment journey takes time, but I don't even know what I'd call it. What would be the opposite of a betterment journey? The quest to rock bottom. The quest to rock bottom in terms of not being better and being a worse human being. It's these little tiny things that make that happen, right? It's these little choices, these little environmental situations, societal situations, whatever you might think, whatever you might encounter. When you're a customer service rep and that's what you have to deal with all day in, day out for years, do you think that what these people have done is going to make those people sway into the direction of society is actually good as a whole? Probably not. I would imagine some customer service reps, they get very jaded towards people in general because of their jobs. And they're literally, their job is to help us. And they're trying. And people are, introducing themselves in conversations with, threats or name calling or whatever it is. No sign of a respectable society in their lives. Just the odd one, I guess. And that's going to wear on a person. And then we're going to get people that are going to become the thing that they have to endure. See, that's the thing that I think people miss. That's the big message when treating people as you want to be treated. You have this issue where you pile on to people, and eventually they try, as they go along, they try their best to do better. And then it keeps piling up, it keeps piling up, and keeps piling up. And eventually it's literally so much weight that they crack, they crumble, they fall apart. And they become the thing they've been trying to not be as a result of it constantly in their face. People that aren't trying to do better can bring people that are trying to do better down.
What's your name?
Bob.
Stookie.
Hey, what's up, Jay? Lawrence Gilliard Jr. here. So, you asked me to tell you a story when I had to do or be better, push forward, push through, to achieve some goal. I got a ton of stories like that, but I'm going to try to see if I can tell you two real quick. So one story is back when I was in middle school, I played clarinet for like a year. I was around 12 or something like that. And this performing arts high school came to my school, and I really wanted to go to this performing arts high school to play clarinet. But my middle school music teacher told me not to even try to audition. Don't even audition. He said I didn't have enough experience, which was true. I didn't know how to read music really. And he was like, I'm going to be competing against kids who've been taking private lessons since they were 3 and 4 and 5. But I really wanted to do it. So I asked him to give me some music, and he gave me a trumpet part Mind you, I was playing clarinet, but he gave me a trumpet part. And so I took the trumpet part home and I opened the music up, and it was so challenging. I didn't know how to read it, but it came with a cassette tape. So I played that cassette tape over and over and over until I learned the whole piece of music by ear. I begged my mother to take me to the audition. She took me to the audition. I put my music on the stand in front of me. I gave the piano player her music, and I played the whole piece from memory, pretending that I was reading the music. Long and short, I got accepted into the School for the Arts. Now, that's story number one. The moral of that story, if you really, really, really want something, there's nobody that can stop you from getting it. That's that story. Story number two, once I got into the School for the Arts, like I said, I couldn't really read music. So when I was a freshman, I was fourth clarinet. It ranks from first, which is the best clarinet player, to the worst clarinet player. We have 4 clarinet players. I was fourth because I was the worst. My first summer after my freshman year, we were on summer break, and my clarinet professor, he was like, I want you to keep taking lessons over the summer break. So I did. I took private lessons over the summer break. And by the time I got back from my sophomore year, we had auditions, and I was first clarinet. Because everyone else, they were on summer break, they weren't practicing, they weren't doing anything. I was practicing, so when I got back, I was first clarinet. The moral of that story is to work hard. If you work hard, push forward, you will prosper. Just keep moving. And remember also that the days you wake up and you're like, I really don't feel like doing that, remember that somebody else is doing it. Somebody else is. And when they get up, they're going to be a step ahead of you if you don't do it. But if you do it, nobody else is doing it, you're going to be a step ahead of everybody else. So I say, man, just, to whoever you're sharing this with, keep moving forward, keep pushing forward. I'm a big believer in prayer also. I believe prayer works, man, and it helps us to move forward, to push forward, and to get through a lot of obstacles, to overcome a lot of obstacles. So working hard, praying hard, and don't get left behind, man. Do what you got to do. Do what you have to do. I hope that's helpful. All right, Jay, take care, man. Peace.
But to get back to what we're talking about with customer service reps, when I was, we'll say into my young adult years, I popped off on customer service reps sometimes too. And after I would do it, I would sit back and go, that was disgusting. And it took conscious effort not to get mad at customer service reps for me. I would just breathe, right? And I would write down on a note so I could see it on a whiteboard or on a piece of paper, or whatever. And I'd say, don't get mad. This is a human on the other side of this conversation, right? And I'd keep that in front of me. Like I'm looking at this camera, like there's a piece of paper right here or a whiteboard. It would stay in front of me, and I learned my lesson. It takes a lot for me to get mad these days. My 2 triggers are when I know you're lying to me to get out of the situation. You can't just say, you know what, our bad. UPS is a great example of that. I popped off on them last year because they kept telling me that they're trying to deliver this package, but we couldn't get it. I sat by the door on my laptop for an entire day, and we have cameras at our door. And basically what was happening was they couldn't immediately find parking, so they just marked it as delivery attempt, and then they left. So, and I would say to them, look, this is what's happening. I sat by the door. They literally said that I didn't sit by the door, even when I did sit by the door. And for those of you that are not familiar with our office, which is pretty much everybody, it can be freaking cold in front of our door. I was shivering that day, but I really need these packages for my business, and we were having a problem getting them. And the driver lied, the customer service rep was lying, and this happened over and over and over again. And that's my trigger: lying, or really just continually doing something that pushes the subject like in a way that's just dishonest, or that doesn't make any sense, and they're not trying to fulfill the needs, or just trying to get out of the situation. They're making excuses instead of reasons, which is another podcast I'm going to do. Difference between reasons and excuses. But those are the 2 things that will make me pop off. But even when I pop off, now, like before when I was younger, when I was a kid, my pop off was like just screaming and yelling and not being very sensible. My pop off now is like, listen, you need to hear the words that are coming out of my mouth because you're not. So I need you to stop talking. I need you to listen to me. And then I need you to figure out how to solve this problem because we do not want to continue to do this over and over again like we have been. This is the 6th time I've been trying to deal with you guys now, and you still have not fulfilled your end, and you're giving me excuses as to why you can't. So listen to the words, and if you actually can't help me, then say you can't help me. Return my money or whatever, right? So that's how I pop off now, right? I raise my voice, but not to the point of like screaming at someone, and I demand that they listen to me. And if they can't help me, if they and a couple times to our reps, credit, they have said to me, you know what? I'm just going by the book here, and honestly, I have no way of helping you. And I can respect that. And I immediately come down, right? I'm like, thank you. Thank you for honesty, right? So if you're one of those people that pops off on customer service reps, here's what I'd like you to do. Get a little whiteboard. I wish I had one in here. A little whiteboard from Dollarama, dollar store, or whatever dollar store you have around you with a red marker. Okay. And I want you to put it in front of your face when you know you're gonna have to deal with a customer service rep and write just what I did. Right? Don't get mad or angry or however you want to word it. There's a real person on the other end of this conversation. It will really help you to focus in on the fact that there is a person just like you and they're trying to help you. Now, if they're not trying to help you, that is a completely different subject. I'm talking about customer service reps that actually want to help you. Okay. And understand, here's a few just like pro tips for going out there and dealing with customer service, especially with digital products, SaaS companies, as they're called, software as a service. Understand that there's a good chance that there could be multiple reasons, and for the failure here, it could be your fault, it could be the platform's fault, it could be a third party's fault, it could be your email's fault, it could be anybody's fault. You don't know. So don't come in with the attitude of you're trying to screw me, because I guarantee you there's no platform that's like, you know what my mission is? You know what my business plan is going to revolve around? Offering a service that doesn't work and screwing people over. That's called a con artist. So if you're dealing with a con artist, it's a whole different thing. But the vast majority of businesses, I'd say 99.99999% of businesses, they're trying their best to help you. So go into it with that mindset. And then as you're talking to them, treat them like you would want to be treated yourself. That's a very basic thing that most parents teach their kids. My parents taught it to me. Took me a while to learn, how to get those hormones shaken out and leveled out and everything, because when you're a kid, everything can be a dramatic end of the world scenario. But you got to get that under control in your 20s, right? If you can't get that under control in your 20s, that's something that needs to be addressed with somebody, a professional or your family or whatever. But as a person who is an adult, you have to look at the situation and say, every situation, this is a great policy for life, not just dealing with customer service reps. There is a chance that I don't understand what's happening here. So I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to breathe. And I'm going to systematically look at solving this problem. That's it. That's all you got to do. I guarantee you, you will have a much better life. You will take that attitude, give it to another human being, who will then give it to another human being, who will then give it to another human being. That customer service rep can go home to their family at night and not be depressed off their ass because all they've been doing is dealing with just horrible, horrible situations all day. And what happens is positivity begets positivity. And if we can just roll that along, if this podcast can reach 1 million people and 1 million people apply this in their daily lives, we will make 10 million lives better. I mean it. Customer service is a very, very hard job. Let's not make it any harder, and let's do better. All of us, okay? All of us, let's do better from this day forward. Put that note in front of yourself when dealing with a customer service rep. Just remember, you're going to treat people as you want to be treated. All right, guys, that is it for this episode of Better. I hope my rant has made your day or helped you in some way. If it has, please subscribe on whatever platform you're checking us out on, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, any of the other more obscure platforms that we're on that I don't even know the names of. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please also share it with someone who you know needs to hear it. I know those can be tough conversations. I had a friend, actually, I have a friend right now. Shout out to my buddy Adrian. He's going through his father has been checked into palliative care and he's going through a big thing. So if you're going through that situation, if you're going through with a parent that's sick and at their the end of their life or whatever, I'm sure you can understand what he's going through. The reason why I bring him up is he's always been the friend that has called me on my shit. And he called me on it since he's been calling me on it since day one. I call him on his shit too, but he's called me on my shit, and he has been a big part of my betterment journey, and that is because of his parents. So I just want to shout him out. Want to make sure that I know that he's going to listen or watch. So Adrian, everybody's in your corner. You need anything, you just let us know. All right, buddy. And if you can share this podcast with somebody who needs to hear it, do it from a place of empathy. Say to them, I want you to be able to be happier and better and more positive in your life. So here is what I've identified as an issue, and here is how I want to help you. You should really check this out, because I'm no better than anybody. I say it on this podcast all the time. If I can be better, you guys can be better. I am not special. I am a slave to my emotions in earlier years, and this took a lot of work that anybody can do. Okay, so that's it. That's all for this episode. Thank you to Mick Foley. Thank you to all you for tuning in. And check out the next episode with a guest that I don't know who it is, but I know it's going to be awesome. All right. Talk to you guys later. Welcome to Better, the podcast about doing better, being better, and leaving the world a better place than we found it.